All right, we're recording. Go ahead. Second balloon story.
Okay, second balloon story. Uh, my son Landry reminded me of this one. I don't remember why we had this helium balloon. It was one of those metallic balloons that if you let go and it gets into the electric wires, it can short stuff out. But anyway, we walk in and this balloon is floating around the dining table. Again, it did not seem to have anything to do with the air current from the central air. Neither of us remembered that going. But it had been tied to a chair that my mother always sat in at the dining table. And it had untied itself somehow. And it was floating lazily around the dining table, and then it went up into the corner of the dining room and was there bobbing around. And then it came back down and made another couple of passes, and Landry goes, "Oh, we are not doing this again," and grabbed the balloon and handed it to me and said, "Take care of this." And so I had to get a knife and pop the thing to keep it from freaking everybody out. Because Landry was there, my niece was there, my dad was at work. So, and I don't know where my sister and my little niece were at the time, but this is not happening again. Remembering the early story about how the birthday balloon floated up and down the hall, we didn't want to go through that again. So Landry had me pop the balloon, and I threw it in the trash, and that was that.
Was there anything that had happened at that moment that had any creepiness or anything that made her think, well, this balloon needed to be popped? Or do y'all just have a written rule, anytime a balloon is in y'all's presence, y'all pop it?
No, this was because of the earlier story about the balloon that went into the hallway, jumped over or sort of floated over the baby gate and went down the hall.
Okay,
but then came back up.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm not asking my question correctly, I guess. Since that occurrence, have y'all not allowed any balloons in any of y'all's presence ever again for fear that y'all might have another incident? Or was there something particular about this metallic balloon that caused that?
It was at that time not wanting to have another balloon incident.
All right, so it was the close period of time then.
Right. This was a few weeks after the birthday balloon story.
Right.
So, but we've had weird stuff going on in the house for years.
Hold up. Okay, go ahead. Tell me about the weird stuff.
Okay, we all the time I see the thing like somebody has run past me out of the corner of my eye, and when I look, nobody's there. So it's sort of shadow people. Weird one was Landry had a German Shepherd, and I had a inherited Dachshund. And we were in the kitchen cooking, and the dogs were sitting there a few feet away, looking up into the corner of the kitchen, just staring. And we would try to distract them, and it didn't work, and they kept staring up at this corner of the kitchen. And they both were doing it. If it had just been one, would have been strange. But both of them standing there, and then at one point, they tracked something that went to the other side of the kitchen and sat there staring at it. and occasionally they would wag their tail, but they were absolutely fascinated with whatever they saw.
Okay.
And we started talking to it. Landry's friend was over, and she freaked out. She left the room. She wanted nothing to do with it. And Landry and I were used to this kind of stuff, and apparently whatever the dogs could see wasn't bothering anybody or was actually waving at them, entertaining them. But floating up to the ceiling, and then I believe it started back and then must have disappeared because both dogs, and this went on for about 15 minutes, both dogs kind of shook their head and looked around and then trotted off to go do something else. But that was a really strange 15 minutes with whatever they were watching being right over mine and Landry's head while we were cooking at the stove. So,
Okay.
but I mean, crap like that happens.
Yeah.